Open world games continue to be some of the most popular games available on the PlayStation 4, and there is no shortage of new open world games coming in 2019, and that's what we're highlighting in today's video. 12 new huge open world games that look to be coming in the rest of 2019. Now, I do have to add that all of the games that we are mentioning in today's videos are said to be released in 2019. There are games like Ghost of Tsushima that I don't believe will be released this year that do look very good, and those games we'll be covering in depth in other videos. However, in this video, I want to specifically keep it contained to games that are confirmed for 2019 releases. With some of them, I'm even a little bit skeptical if they'll make it in 2019, but currently they are all listed as 2019 games. And do remember that these are just the games that are announced for 2019. While some games have been announced that'll come in 2020, like a Ghost of Tsushima, other games could be announced soon and then they be released later in the year. A Borderlands 3 could be announced very soon and then be released by the end of the year. I wouldn't be all too surprised if that happens. A game like Cyberpunk 2077 as well. I have some speculation that that game might be released by the end of 2019, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. So with that being said, let's just get right into it with the open world games that are confirmed for 2019. Kicking things off, we have a PlayStation 4 exclusive that's been getting a lot of publicity, and that is Days Gone. Now, initially when Days Gone was announced back in 2016, a lot of gamers were a little bit skeptical. Being another open-world zombie-based game, it wasn't really doing anything super original. However, as Days Gone has evolved throughout the years, as the technical performance has gotten better, Days Gone has looked to become more and more of a compelling experience, and especially considering that this game is coming from Sony Bend Studios, an incredibly talented studios, my anticipation and a lot of other gamers' anticipation for Days Gone is going through the roof as we are getting closer and closer to its release. Visually, it's stunning and the open world looks fantastic. Looks to be yet another big budget open world action adventure title coming from Sony, and Sony Bend Studios, I hope, really could get their first outing on the PlayStation 4 done right. And if it does turn out well, Days Gone could become one of the major IPs for Sony going forward. We'll see, as Days Gone is scheduled for a release on April 26th. Next up, we have an open world title to an early game this generation, and one that I'm very excited for: Dying Light 2. Dying Light was released back in January of 2015, and at this point, a lot of you guys probably missed out on that game considering it was an early title, and even back then, it wasn't one of those super promoted games. However, it has developed a little bit of a following over the years, and now we have Dying Light 2, and this one looks to be a substantial improvement upon the first game. And again, I thought the first game was great, and this time around, you're gonna have many choices to make during the main story, and that'll change the course of the game. Every action will have consequences, and parkour is going to be a big element yet again, and they did the parkour element so well in the first game that I imagine that in the second game they'll be even better. Unlike the original game, however, zombies are swept away to the fringes during the day but roam freely at night, so it's going to be a distinctly different experience at day versus at night, so that's a pretty cool twist. However, there are going to be bandits and mercenaries who control the water supply and other basic necessities in and around the city, so that's what you're going to have to deal with. Dying Light 2 seems to have a lot of variety in its gameplay, and I'm telling you guys, it's going to be one to be on the lookout for. Dying Light 2 does drop sometime in 2019. Next up, we have another game that's been building a lot of anticipation, and that is The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds really had the benefit of Fallout 76 being a complete disaster, and gamers just inherently wanting a similar style of experience, so enter Obsidian Games, the developers behind Fallout New Vegas, to do an open world RPG in The Outer Worlds, a first-person RPG, and in the game, you're going to be able to create your own character and unlock a ship which acts as the game's central hub space. It serves as a fast travel point to access different areas in the game, and there's going to be a lot to do in the game. However, as far as open world RPGs go, this isn't one that really is being built on being this vast open world. Rather, it looks to be a satisfying experience that is going to be very, very replayable. Whatever the case may be, The Outer Worlds is building up to be a very good game, and Obsidian Entertainment is an incredibly talented studio. They just don't get the shine that they deserve. Look at some of the games that they've worked on: Fallout New Vegas, South Park: The Stick of Truth, Pillars of Eternity. They've worked on so many tremendous games, and I don't know why they aren't heralded as one of the top studios in gaming today. However, if The Outer Worlds turns out to be as good as I think it could be, I think that tune will be changing really quickly. Unfortunately, for those of you that exclusively own a PlayStation 4, Obsidian is being acquired by Microsoft, so a little bit of a bummer. This is the last game from them that's gonna be hitting a PlayStation platform, but hopefully The Outer Worlds is a good way to go out. Next up, we have a very interesting and unique open world RPG, the action RPG in Biomutant. Biomutant is an action RPG set in an open world environment and played from a third-person perspective, and you play as a very interesting character, specifically a raccoon-like creature in a world filled with mutated animals. The first thing you're gonna do in the game is customize your own character. That includes sex, length, body shape, and thickness, fur, fangs, and many other attributes. However, this isn't just cosmetic alterations. These distinct differences are gonna make an impact to the gameplay. A thicker character is heavier, which makes it slower, but on the flip side allows it to deal and resist more damage. As far as the gameplay, the combat system combines melee attacks with long-range shooting. The player collects parts throughout the game as well and combines these parts to create weapons. It just looks to have a lot of mechanics in its gameplay, and that is already a very interesting element, not to mention that the open world looks pretty gorgeous. This could be one of the more surprising games of 2019. It's coming from a new studio, from Experiment 101, and they have some talented developers over there. Being a THQ Nordic published title, they've been making waves, and I think Biomutant is going to be another step for them. It's scheduled to release sometime in 2019. Next up, here's another unique game, and that is Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey. Coming from the creator of Assassin's Creed, Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey has you embark on the most incredible odyssey known to humankind, human evolution. Spanning from 10 million to 2 million years ago, begin your journey before us in Neogene period Africa. Explore a beautiful yet ruthless world, from swinging through tree branches in the jungle to stalking prey across the golden savanna grasslands. Decide what attributes to learn and hone in order to pass down knowledge to future generations, from crafting tools to enhancing invasive tactics against predators. Just like real life, make sure to eat, drink, and sleep to stay alive and have the energy to face any danger that may come your way. It does seem to be a more hardcore game, but this is a very interesting and compelling title. I'm interested to see how it turns out, and it's another title scheduled for 2019 that could end up surprising a lot of people. Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey is scheduled for a release again sometime this year. Next up, we have a surprising sequel to a game. I was not expecting this one for a while, and that is Rage 2. The first Rage released all the way back in 2011, and yeah, it was a pretty good game. However, it was a game that I don't think anyone was really clamoring a sequel for. However, now enter Rage 2, and this is a game where my excitement for the title, just like Days Gone, has been building since we've been seeing more and more gameplay. It's an open world shooter, and visually the game is stunning. Players assume control of Ranger Walker, who is free to explore the game's post-apocalyptic world, and you're given control over some of Walker's attributes such as gender, skill, or attire. You've got a variety of different firearms and tools to fight against various enemies, and the interesting thing about this game is not only is id Software working on it, but also Avalanche Studios. And Avalanche, they're very familiar with creating open world titles. However, some of their recent games have been a little bit of a blunder. I point to games like Just Cause 4, I point to a game like Generation Zero. Hopefully they can get back on track with what they're working on in Rage 2, and what I've seen thus far has looked rather good, and hopefully it delivers. It's out relatively soon. Rage 2 drops on the PlayStation 4 on May 14th. Next up, we have a new IP coming over from the guys at Ubisoft, and that is Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is a tactical action game set in an open world environment and played from a third-person perspective. You take control of a customizable pirate captain and may choose to sail the Indian Ocean by yourself and set off on a single-player campaign, or you can accumulate up to 5 other players to ally or engage in combat with in the disputed waters. So a naval action combat game is already inherently pretty exciting. I think a lot of people will see comparisons to a game like Sea of Thieves, but obviously Skull and Bones definitely offers its own nuances, and there's a lot of mechanics you have to take into account with Skull and Bones. Wind positioning can be assessed to gain advantage in battle. You can collect additional ships throughout the game, such as sloops of war, frigates, and brigantines, whose weapons are vast. Mortars, rockets, broadside cannons. There's a lot to get into with the game, and ships can be charged into with brute force and boarded. Everybody always clamors for new IPs in gaming, and Ubisoft is one publisher that seems to rely more on their established franchises like an Assassin's Creed, like a Far Cry, but here we've got something brand new, Skull and Bones, and it's dropping sometime in 2019. A game that's been going under the radar quite a bit, and it's out very soon, is Fade to Silence. Fade to Silence is a single-player and co-op survival adventure set in a post-apocalyptic world that is frozen in an eternal winter. Snow and ice have shaped a merciless landscape. Nature is corrupted. Monstrous creatures out of an eldritch horror dream roam the frozen wastelands. As the player, you take control of the role of Ash, a natural but tormented leader. In this role, you explore a post-apocalyptic frozen wasteland to gather the resources necessary to establish a refuge for survival. This game is already available in early access on PC, and it's had a relatively mixed reception. However, it's coming out as a full title on PlayStation 4, and they are adding a lot of elements to it, so hopefully the PS4 version turns out a little bit better. It drops on April 30th. Next up, we have the latest expansion to one of the best MMOs on the market today, The Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr. Now, you could make a debate on whether or not you would count this as a brand new game. However, The Elder Scrolls Online has turned into such a great MMO that I'm compelled to include Elsweyr on this list. Elsweyr is a major expansion. Dragons are returning in Elder Scrolls Online, part of the Season of the Dragon year-long adventure. Explore the savannas and canyons of Elsweyr, defend the home of the Khajiit from an ancient evil, and command the undead with the Necromancer class. That's a new addition. And the game touts explore the Khajiit homeland, a land ravaged by warfare, scale terror attacks from the skies, seek new allies and weapons to take them down, and ESO reaches new storytelling heights with a war against dragons told across a chapter and 3 DLC game packs. And of course, as I mentioned, with the new addition of the Necromancer class, you can master control over life and death with a character class that channels the undead. The Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr drops June 4th. And by the way, if you're watching this video around the time it's uploaded, the Elder Scrolls Online is actually going to have a free-to-play period from March 28th until April 3rd, so that's just something I want to note if you guys are looking to get into the game. Next up, we have The Sinking City, a game that's set in the 1920s in the east coast of the United States. The half-submerged city of Oakmont is gripped by supernatural forces. You're a private investigator uncovering the truth of what has possessed the city and corrupted the myths of its inhabitants and yours. The game touts a vast open world that can be explored on foot, by boat, or in a diving suit. It's an adventure game and investigation game set in an open world inspired by the universe of H.P. Lovecraft, the master of horror. The half-submerged city of Oakmont is gripped by supernatural forces. You're a private investigator, and you have to uncover what's going on in the city. It's a game that's riddled with mystery, probably not going to offer you a lot of high-octane action, but a game like this in an open-world environment, it has my interest. Originally, it was scheduled to release this month. They pushed it back into June, and specifically, it'll be dropping on the PlayStation 4 on June 27th. Next up, we have the next entry into one of the most iconic franchises ever. Shenmue is finally back with Shenmue III. Shenmue III is a game we've waited on for so long. Shenmue 1 is one of the most iconic games of all time, but many would point to that game as the title that was really the Dreamcast's undoing. But whatever, it was a great game, and technically at the time it was one of the most impressive games we have ever seen, and of course it got a sequel in Shenmue 2. Those games were remastered on the PlayStation 4, so if you've yet to play them before Shenmue 3 drops, I would highly recommend you to go back and play through those, because Shenmue is of course a very story-driven experience, and Shenmue 3 sees the eagerly anticipated continuation of the epic story-driven saga. Take control of Ryu Hazuki, a teenage martial artist determined to unravel the mystery behind his father's murder and to exact revenge on the killer. This time around, you'll be able to explore a vibrant, colorful open world, meet intriguing characters, and endeavor on a cinematic adventure which will take you further into enemy territory and deeper into the mystery of the Phoenix Mirror. Shenmue 3 is just a couple of months away. It's gonna drop on August 27th. And lastly, we have a game that's still listed for a 2019 release. A little bit skeptical if it's gonna drop this year. However, I did want to give a mention to Lost Soul Aside. Lost Soul Aside is a game that I've been following for a very long time, and right away when looking at it, it's hard not to be captivated by it based on its incredible visuals, stylish gameplay, and awesome design. If you're into games like Final Fantasy, the character design is gonna hit you right at home. And then again, you couple in the stylish gameplay that's reminiscent of something fast-paced like a Devil May Cry title or Nier Automata. Yeah, you've got my interest right away, and if they can create a compelling open world as well to get invested into, a solid story, and they're touting all of these elements, I think Lost Soul Aside can be one of the most remarkable PlayStation 4 exclusives thus far. It originally started out as a one-man project, but it's evolved into something so much deeper, and at this point, it seems like a lot of you guys still don't know about Lost Soul Aside, and I find that very shocking. We'll see how the game turns out. It's still been shrouded in some mystery, but hopefully it drops this year, and if not this year, early 2020 or sometime next year, because I really want to get my hands on it. We've already seen a sizable amount of gameplay of it, and some people have had the chance to try it out at specific events, and what we've seen thus far has looked rather good. I just want to see more of the full game, the world, and let's get an exact release date as well. So that's going to conclude this video. 12 huge PlayStation 4 open world titles that are scheduled to be released in 2019. A lot of exciting games, and even in the open world genre, there's a lot of variety in these games as well. You've got Days Gone, an open world zombie game. Dying Light 2 kind of falls in that category as well, but then you've got games like Biomutant, Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey is such an interesting title. Skull and Bones for you naval guys. You've got an MMO in the Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr. The Sinking City could be a very surprising game. You've got the return of one of the most iconic franchises ever in Shenmue 3. A lot of depth in the open world offerings in 2019. And again, if we see game announcements like a Borderlands 3 and other open world titles, could be a great year for those of you guys that like your open world experiences. But that's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.